I'm going to need you to be strong. Your wife is going to be paralyzed for life. So after that, it was like, the life literally just goes before your eyes, and you have 3 seconds to decide, okay, either I just go down to the abyss, I just like in the abyss of self-pity and never come out, or I courage up and I man up and I do this and I deal with this. And it was literally a split second where I told myself, let's just do this. Let's do this. So I told myself, I have to be strong for Kat. I have to be strong for Kat. So I repeated that 3 days and 3 nights. And I'll tell you why it was 3 days and 3 nights. But I repeated it on a loop and I never stopped. So I think that's where the mind-muscle connection started to working. Like my mind was telling my body, you got to get strong fast, buddy, because you got to help your wife because she's in big trouble. Because I could still move my hands and feet at that point. It was just, so I could move my hands and feet. So I understood intuitively that at some point down the road, I was going to be okay, so to speak. The reason I wasn't allowed to move for 3 days was that I've literally broken everything. So the condylites that keep the head up on the vertebrae and the actual vertebrae were all broken, and all the ligaments were torn. So the neurosurgeon said that my head was literally, I was internally decapitated. It was like this. It was just balancing on a string. But luckily for me, none of the nerves were damaged. So everything was broken. The nerves were still intact. But they didn't know what to do with me. So they had me lay still for 3 days and 3 nights with a neck thing on. And that's when I started the mantra, I have to be strong for Kat. I have to be strong for Kat. And that's love. It's a tough question. It's a tough question, Stephen, because I still to this day, I think I've not acknowledged it. I don't know if that makes sense, but I think what keeps me going and keeps me driving is that I don't allow myself to think about that. Like I obviously take care of her every day. I see her every day. I do catheters, but I don't allow myself to go down that hole, because if I do, there'll be too much pain. So even right when the neurosurgeon told me you have to be strong, that's when I started being strong. And then I kept at it. I just never went down the black hole, because I knew if I went down, I would not come up. And by that, I mean just shoot myself or kill myself or just leave. I don't want to take no part of the responsibility. It's just this huge responsibility just came up on your shoulders, and people don't like to talk about that. But you can imagine, like I have a person that can't move. I'm going to take care of her. There is no family, not on my side, and very little on her side. So it can be quite overwhelming. To be frank, I don't allow myself to cry that much. It's not because I'm tough. It's just if I start, I don't know when I'm going to stop, if that makes sense. So yeah, it was terrible. It was awful. She was just intubated, and she had a trach, which means that a machine was breathing for her. They put a little hole in her throat so the machine can breathe in and out, and a machine was feeding her and breathing her. And to see this strong, beautiful, proud Latina Air Force major in a vegetative state, it was just bad. It was just, yeah. I screamed at her. I screamed, "Fight, Kat! Fight for us! Fight for us!" And the nurses, they let me do that. So I stood there above her and screamed at. So, yeah. Yeah, Batista, it was pure. It was pure. I want to say despair, more despair and panic. My family lived in Sweden, and for a number of reasons, they just didn't want to help out. My mother apologized to me 6 years after for not helping out. On Kat's side, there were some people helping out, but they lived in Belize and Chicago, so they couldn't really be that much with us. So it was me and Kat, and in the beginning, we had nurses that were paid from the Air Force. So thank God for the Air Force. But even though you have caregivers and nurses, this is like, you need a village. We have a grown-up person that needs help with everything. At one point, I tried to count how many little tasks. It's thousands of tasks every day. Itch my right, itch my eye, itch my den, do this, get this, that is, need catheter, need bowel care, need it. It is like 1,000 things, like nonstop. And it's an intelligent human, like grown up. It's not a baby. So I was running a fighter diet at the same time. So and the cost once the Air Force stopped paying for caregivers, the cost would be $132,000 a year for caregivers. So that's just caregivers. Then you got to live somewhere, and then you got to eat. So you can imagine. I saw it like, I was in despair. So I just screamed on Facebook, like it was the only friend I had. Like I posted and I screamed and I emptied my soul there. So I guess, Stephen, that's where it came out, in writing. So tears came out there, and people responded. People responded, like strangers, total strangers that had similar experiences came to help, which was just incredible. And that's what the documentary is literally about, just total strangers owning up, coming, offering help, which is beautiful, really. So let me put it like this: the love was tested. Let me say that I call it true love for a reason, but God, it was tested, man. I mean, we went down some dark holes, Kat and I. We were screaming some real truths at each other, and stuff you know about your spouse, but you can't say that. We said all that, like all that came out, like everything, like, and over again. And because of real despair, we were just like, we were so hurt, and like the future was gone, and we wanted to turn back time, but we couldn't turn back time, and we turned on each other. So it got bad. It got really bad. But then it turned. So we managed to turn that ship around and find the love. And at first I didn't want to be a caregiver, Stephen. I thought I was this young, cool, hot stud. I had the future laid out for me with my black Range Rover and Rolex watch and working for Muscle and Fitness. I don't want to be bedside 24/7. Like, it was just the opposite to what my life was supposed to be. And obviously Kat's life was not supposed to be bedridden, and she was supposed to be an Air Force major and so forth. So it took a while for us to reframe our minds and not see it as a blessing, but learn to live with it and learn to use what we had and make the best of it. So sorry, I don't know if I answered your question, but yeah, it turns out that caring for someone is really a blessing. It turns out that giving to someone else is really the true meaning of life. In my point of view, it took a while for me to get to that point. But once Kat was really brutal. She's like, "What if this was you, Pavel? What if this was you?" And that got me. It's like, well, shit, what if this was me? Like, what would I want? What would I need? And that it switched me, just like I told myself I had to be strong for Kat. It switched me, and I became instantly super empathetic and super caring. And now I get up 4:00 a.m. in the morning. I work, and then I wake her up at 5:30. I have coffee made. I set her up in the bed. She has a computer with touchscreen. She works for the U.S. Space Force now. She has an iPad. She has a phone. So she's got 3 devices. So give her coffee. We talk a little bit, and then she gets going in with her meetings. When she needs a catheter, I do a catheter, get the urine out, and then a caregiver comes in at 8:00, and then the caregiver does bowel care because that has to be done every day. And then throughout the day, I go from my upstairs office down to Kat, and so it's actually a really good life. We created a really good life for ourselves, and we've actually continued like sort of a little comeback from 7 years ago. That Kat got a new job for the U.S. Space Force, and I'm back in the game again, doing documentaries and filming and stuff. So yeah, so what they did, I brought a little prop here just to show you guys. So what they did is, this is just the upper part of the prop, but they put this is called a halo. So what they do is these screws right here. So they've sat me up on the bedside, and then the neurosurgeon, Dr. Farron, came in. She took my hands and she said, "Pavel, be brave." Because normally they do anesthesia, but I was wide awake. So they sat me up, they put this on me, and then they take a regular Home Depot screwdriver and they drill those right into your skull. And while they do it, I have to do this with my hands to make sure that they don't hurt any nerves, while the neurosurgeon squeezes on my head to literally press the head down on the vertebrae. Some medieval shit. Press it right down. So, and I'm doing this, and they're screwing into my head. While they're screwing, they're pumping me full with Novocaine. But first they screw, because they want to see that they hurt any nerves. So that was quite a shock. So after that, I was stuck in this halo for 2 months. Wasn't allowed to weight lift. I was a pretty buff and lean guy when the accident happened. I lost 20 pounds of muscles right off the bat. Not so much because I couldn't weightlift, I think, just because the body needed fuel to heal. It was like I couldn't walk a step without having a Diet Coke or water or something to eat, like a fruit, because it was just, my body was just burning, healing. So I lost 20 pounds fast. Once I was allowed to do like bodyweight squats, that's all I did. I had bodyweight squats, and after a while, I had 5-pound dumbbells. I still did biceps curls outside the hospital, but I was so happy I could do biceps curls. Doesn't matter if it's 5 pounds. I could lift again. I could lift, and I know you both know that how it affects the mind. It's just like a duality, right? You lift, you get happier up here. You get happier here. You lift more. So, yeah. So yeah. Yeah, 100%. 100%, Stephen. I think if Kat and I weren't athletes or athletic, we wouldn't be here today, because we were both, Kat was given a 10% chance to survive the first night, 10%. The doctor said actually that I was worse off than Kat, and it sounds horrible for me to say this, but it's the doctor's words, just because the C1 was broken, which controls the breathing. So if the C1 breaks just like a millimeter in the wrong way, you can't breathe anymore. So athleticism absolutely saved us. And then we had I think the mindset of being athletic and being an athlete saved us. Like we fought, we started fighting. I mean, I started fighting in the trauma bay. Like the minute the doctor told me that my wife's going to be paralyzed, I started fighting. Kat started fighting to get off the trach. The minute she realized her situation, she wanted to get out of the trach so she could breathe on her own, so she could talk. So we just started fighting, and I attribute all the weight training to that. So yeah. And then later on, of course, when I took off the halo, I could be more free and just put mass on again. And it helped me be strong for my wife. Like it did, like physically, I I carry her everywhere, like at my house. We don't use we get a lift from the VA, but I just carry her. Like, so I squat down below 90 and just pick her up and carry her when she wants to go. So that takes a little bit of a stamina and some mind-muscle connection to do that all the time without tearing a hamstring here and there. So yes. Yeah, strength training and muscles. Muscles are golden. I mean, people don't realize how important muscles are, like, until you don't have them anymore. And if I could go on a little bit of a rant here, my wife obviously don't move. So she lost all her muscles. So she's just bone and ligaments right now. And her shoulders, you can see how the bone, they go apart because there's nothing holding them together. So if you want to see how important muscles are, you can look at my wife, and it's that's sad. That is a sad sight, and I can speak about it now because it's been 7 years. But you really see how important they are for a functional, moving body. Without them, there is nothing. You can't move. It's just skeleton, it's just bone on bone and ligaments, and so. Yeah. It's, it makes you wonder, Stephen, like, what's the meaning with everything, and how did we make it, and why did we make it? And I got to be honest and tell you that many times I've wondered, like, why did we make it? It might have been easier just to not make it, so to speak, because there's been a lot of misery throughout these years to get to the point where we're at now. Now we're obviously grateful, but I wouldn't want this. Let me rephrase and say like this: if it was just me who was in the accident, I would want everything to be exactly the same. I have become a better person. I have become empathetic, understanding, and my greatest joy is to help other people now. Love. Obviously not for Kat. So I don't know if that answers your question, but there is a lot of blessings in what happens. There is for me. There is some for her, but it's tough when she's paralyzed neck down, so to speak, to speak about blessings. But we've proven our love, and we have a good life, and I know we inspire other people, and so one of my greatest joys, and the reason why I'm so thankful for being on this podcast and talking, is to inspire others and give others strength. And I know they get strength when they read my book. They get resilient. They get hope, because they see that someone else did it. He did it, and then I can do it, and I give them some tips and stuff. So yeah, that's correct. It's really. I realized that there were so many people that helped us that I never got to say thank you, because I've been so busy taking care of myself to be able to take care of Kat. So it's been all consuming. the book was a good therapy for me. And once that got out and became a bestseller, I realized, oh, there's a need here. This the kind of stuff is needed. That not that many people write about this. Um, I call the documentary about the people that helped us a love letter. So it's a love letter to my heroes, and I wanted to tell the world about a little bit about them, why they helped, because I found that interesting. Like, why would they see something on Facebook and then reach out, message me, and offer to come and help, like help be with Kat, help bathe Kat, help make dinner, help stay. I mean, why would someone do that? So that's what I'm trying to examine a little bit, and also I reconnected with the doctors and let them have their say on what really happened, and some stuff came out, and I'm glad they didn't tell me at the point where the accident happened and so forth. So, but it's a love letter to our heroes. That's what it is. And then we're doing a feature film, if I can just put that in there. We have a screenplay ready, and we want to do a film dramatization of the book. So the documentary is a little practice run to do a feature film, which will be a true love story, Stephen. The story, just as you described it, that, against all odds, we made it, and a true love story. That's, Yes, I do, Batista. I have four good takeaways. So what I've learned through this journey is, I'll start with muscles then. I really feel that physical activity is super important for your health. If something like this were to happen, it'll help you on all different levels. So yes, so we're going to say muscles is number one. And then we have friends, family, and love. It sounds like a cliche, but it's a cliche for a reason, right? It is what everyone is looking for and what everyone wants. And for what it's worth, I found all four of them through the accident. So there were blessings. Friends, family, love, muscle. Yeah, Stephen, you know more about this than I do, but yes, we absolutely do, and we need to load the skeleton. Like, we need to load the skeleton for the skeleton to stay strong, and we need to load the skeleton, to load the muscles for them to grow and stay there. Otherwise, they disappear. Like, it's ephemeral. We need to constantly take care of them. I would not be able to take care of my wife if I didn't have muscles. I wouldn't be able to lift her if I didn't have muscles. I wouldn't be able to function as well as I do if I didn't have muscles. And I do that. I have a Rogue rack in my garage, a complete barbell and all kinds of plates, just so it's close to me, and so I'll never skip a gym session. I can go out there in the morning, in the evening, in the night, whenever I want to. And I do. I never skip a session because it's so close to me. So for me, it's been life-saving. And women especially get scared of muscle. They think it's, lift a weight and they're going to get big muscles. And we all know that it takes a lot to even get a little bit of muscle. So I wish. So women especially should lift heavy, not be afraid of muscles. If they lift heavy and they eat right, they'll get toned, and they'll look the way they want, and they'll have a healthy, strong, beautiful body, so to speak. And I think we shouldn't be afraid to say that either, that muscles are beautiful. I really think there's an aesthetic value. Like, there's a reason why we have Greek statues looking the way they do. They're not fat. They're not blobby. They're powerful. They're admirable. There's a reason why they're like that. They're warriors. So yeah. Yeah, I have a complete home gym in the garage where I lift weights. I lift heavy weights, and the heavy weights break down my muscles, and they build them up with food, and I get a little bit bigger, and that's a process that keeps on going every day. And I enjoy the process. There is joy in the suffering. There's joy in the suffering of working out, if that makes sense. Like, there's a happiness in the pain of working out. I know this might sound a little off for some, but try it. You might like it, and you might like how you feel after you work out. You get the endorphin rush, and you just feel powerful. There's something special about feeling powerful. And that you get by working out with weights and heavy weights. No green, blue dumbbells. Take the black strong ones. Yeah. Yeah, it's excuse me, I was a photographer for Muscle and Fitness and Flex, and I shot all the most beautiful athletic women in the world, and the bikini girls even. They're so petite and they're so beautiful, but they're strong and they lift heavy just to even get that little amount of muscle. So people should not be afraid of lifting heavy. They should embrace it under controlled circumstances, obviously, but it brings so many health benefits, like lowers blood pressure and keeps you mentally stable, I feel. And certainly in these times, which are kind of unruly and so forth. So it keeps you mentally grounded. So yes. Yeah, that's a good question, Batista. I did and I didn't, and I'll tell you all about it. So since I work with a company called Fighter Diet, I had some knowledge about what good nutrition was. So I understood that in order to heal, I had to work out as much as I could and allowed, but I also had to eat right. And I did. I had more or less only vegetables and lean proteins, but I did have quite a lot of whiskey in the evenings just to be able to sleep. So this is like, I'm out of the hospital, I'm alone, it's Christmas, my wife's paralyzed, I had a halo on, it's bleeding every day from all the holes in my head. So it's quite miserable. So I ate healthy, but I had whiskey just in order to sleep, just to don't let my mind go crazy. Once I was able to take the halo off and I was able to weight lift more, get all the stress out in lifting, then the whiskey got lower and the weights got more. So it was like a little pendulum there. So, but yeah, the diet was important. It really was important to nourish your body the right way. And the neurosurgeon, Dr. Farron, said she meets 6,000 patients every year. 6,000. She said she had never seen anyone heal up as fast as I did. And I'm not saying that because I'm some sort of superhero. That's not it. But I did the right things. I ate right. I got sleep, even though it was vodka induced. I got sleep, and I worked out as much as I could. And that was the trinity to get strong fast. And that is all about strength, because bone heals and muscles and ligaments. So, thank you, Stephen. Thank you. I mean, that means a lot. It means more than you. It means more than you think. I had another husband from Belize saying the exact same thing. He said, "Pavel, I have a better marriage due to your book." That means a lot. And we've spoken once before, Stephen, and you said that sometimes you just lay next to your wife and listen to her breathing. And I thought that was so poetic and beautiful, because I do the same thing. I lay, obviously can't move, so it's up to me to squeeze myself really tight. So I squeeze myself tight to her neck where she can feel me. And we just lay there and we can feel each other's lungs, and we can hear each other breathing. And I mean, if that's not love and life, I don't know what is, So thank you, Stephen. Yeah, True Love the book.com, True Love the Book. That if you Google that, then I'll come up, and or True Love and Suffering on Amazon, and then it comes up on Amazon. So, and if people purchase the book, the proceeds goes to CAT. It goes 100% to CAT. So we've after 7 years, we've managed to handle the nurse costs. But there's a future, and we're trying to save up for an uncertain future too. So if you want to do a good thing, you can buy a book and support CAT. So.